is Selloane Mile. I am a graduate of the University of the Free State campus, where I did my Bachelor of Education in Senior and FET phase. Well, I graduated in 2019, where I was named the Dukes, the overall achiever of the campus, the Goba campus. Well, there's no specific thing which I'd pin or rather point at to say this is the reason I achieved the academic success I did or the accolades I did. However, I'd actually like to point out 3 factors that played a huge role in me graduating in record time with the grades that I did. Firstly, being a first year or a first time university entrant is rather a very challenging experience, given the fact that you have to transition from your previous environment, which was high school for some, which was staying at home and doing nothing for some, which was waking and all that. Now you move into a different environment, new dimensions, new dynamics. How then do you adapt to such a space? Well, for me, it was a matter of actually prioritizing firstly my psychological well-being, secondly emotional well-being, and also socially being equipped with what is happening in the world around me, and actually also inevitably prioritizing academia. Mental health of late has been quite a big issue, and it is quite important as a student, as a first year student, as a senior student, that you prioritize your mental health, because everything else flows from it. I mean, if you have issues that are actually inhibiting your mental well-being, then how then will you focus on your academia? So for me, it was a matter of prioritizing my mental health, keeping the main thing, you know. And at times where I encountered problems, I know that most institutions offer the counseling sessions for their students free of charge. So I would then, time and again, where I face the stresses of life, you know, there are many stresses from different aspects of our lives. When I faced such stresses, I'd actually consult the student counseling and development office, where I'd get counseling free of charge, and then I'd make sure that I'm mentally stable before I could tackle my academia. It factored a lot in the choices I made to begin with. If you are to make friends, make sure that you make friends with circles or people around you who are in the same career or rather degree path as you, so that not only will your friendship revolve around social aspects of associations, but however will also flow into the academic aspects. So that was it for me. I ensured that I kept a circle of friends who understood the path that I'm in at that moment in time, who understood and whom would help each other, wherein one would face a problem within certain aspects of pedagogy. That also proved to help a lot. And also, you make networks outside the scope of what you are doing. You make networks, you meet people, so that when you encounter a certain problem, because problems of institutional problems do not only revolve around academia, there are also financial struggles and whatnot. So I ensured that I networked, I met new people, and I challenged myself outside the scope of the course that I was doing, so that I can equip myself with more knowledge, because I mean, there's a hive of knowledge out there at our disposal. So I ensure that I network with almost people in different degree paths. Being that I was doing education, I was also in it in the humanities, I was also in it in the sciences. I met people, which actually those associations proved helpful even beyond my degree course. Firstly, I ensured that I adhered and I met deadlines. Do not at any given point miss a deadline, because that is where you start faltering. And getting into academia, I know for a lot of people, first year is a time for experience, a time for growth, a time for observation and all that. However, it is important that we keep the main thing, and for me, academia was a priority. no questions asked. It was not debatable. I ensured that I prioritized my books before anything and everything else. And what I do, which worked to my advantage as well, was that I made deadlines. I made sure that I submit everything on time, or rather before the due date, so that I don't increase the academic burden, the assignments burden on my part. So I submitted things on time, first and foremost. Secondly, I ensured that I asked for help when I needed it, and I also consulted. Do not be afraid to consult. Do not be afraid to consult your tutors. Do not be afraid to go for consultations to your lecturers, because I know that they have consultation hours, and therefore ensure that you will use those things. Equally important, use the facilities that are available for you on campus. There are so many offices which will help you when you face different academic problems, like academic advising. Is there at your disposal? Use that. There are also other facilities such as computer labs, media labs, and all those things to help you. Utilize those things. It is very important. And also, as cliche as it may sound, you study and you study. For me, in my first year, what helped was the fact that I created a study group with the people whom we were studying the same degree with, the same course with, we did the same modules. And as unpopular as it seemed at the time, it really helped. It worked to our advantage because we helped each other. We created a study group, and where we got a time where there was space in our schedules, we ensured that we met timelessly to study, to share information, to share slides, to share study material and all that. Those people are very helpful. They are quite helpful. Those study groups will come in handy for you. You set a standard for yourself, and when you set a standard, it means that you set a standard upon which grades you want to pass with. And mind you, that is a standard which you will follow throughout your degree. Because now, if you start at your first year with average marks, it means you will complete your degree with average marks, because you wouldn't see anything. There'll be nothing pushing you to thrive for academic excellence. And if you get below average marks, it means you are creating a burden on your part, because you now have to carry modules from previous years onto the next year, which increases on the burden of your modules and the credits which you must meet at the end of each academic year. But however, if you pass with above average marks, you get your 70%, your 75%, it means that is the standard you'll be setting for yourself, which means each and every year we will be thriving to reach that standard, and you would know that anything below that, you are actually disappointing yourself or letting yourself down, because at the end of the day you are doing this for yourself and no one else. However, in the aftermath, whatever you did will work to your advantage. Consistency is key. Consistency is very important. If you have set a study hours for yourself, ensure that you keep to them. Be consistent in whatever you're doing. If you go for gym, if you go for what, because everything else fuses into this one huge ball of you reaching academic success, and it is not only dependent on you studying hard and all that. As I've mentioned, there are psychological aspects, there are social aspects as well, which then merge together to create this whole holistic being that is you, who's achieving, who's thriving in whatever that they are doing. So first year is very, 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 very challenging, and it's very hard to transition and to navigate through that year. However, if you keep to whatever that has brought you there, if you reach out for help where you need it the most, if you commit yourself to your studies, if you commit yourself to what is important, there will be nothing, absolutely nothing stopping you from achieving great academic success and getting the accolades that you need and passing with the grades that you do, and then basically completing your degree in record time, as most people would, as most people have.